In the rugged folds of Cumberland, where the fells rise like green waves and the river Caldew whispers through the village of Coldbeck, the name John Peel echoes as surely as the blast of a hunting horn. Born in 1776, Peel was a man of the land, a farmer and horse dealer whose weathered hands could tame a stallion or plough a field. But it was his passion for the hunt that made him a legend, a rider who chased the fox across the moors with a fervor that bordered on the divine. Long after his death in 1854, his spirit lingers in the song penned by his friend, a melody that school choirs still sing with soaring descants, ensuring that John Peel will never be forgotten. Coldbeck in the late 18th century was a place of stone walls and slate roofs, its folk bound by the rhythms of sheep shearing and market days. John Peel, broad-shouldered and ruddy-faced, was a fixture in the village, his laugh as loud as the church bells and his hazel eyes sharp with mischief. He farmed a modest holding near the Caldew, raising barley and cattle, and traded horses at Carlisle's fairs, his knack for spotting a good mount unrivaled. Yet it was the hunt that stirred his soul. Twice a week, come rain or frost, he saddled his mare, Jenny, and joined the Coldbeck hounds, a pack of baying dogs whose howls could wake the dead. The hunt was more than sport in Cumberland. It was a ritual, a dance of man, beast, and wild. Peel was its master, his red coat a beacon as he galloped over Skiddaws slopes, his horn's clear note rallying the hounds through bracken and bog. The foxes of the fells were cunning, their russet tails vanishing into crags, but Pele knew their ways. He could read a fox's mind, said old Tam Bell, the village farrier, who often rode at his side. With his whip cracked and his voice urging, "Tally!" Peel led the hunt with a joy that infected all who followed, farmers, shepherds, even the odd gentry from Keswick. His love for the chase was matched only by his loyalty to his pack. The hounds, Dandy, Ranger, Lassie, and a dozen others were his companions, fed from his own table and kennelled beside his barn. He knew each dog's bark, each quirk, and they answered his call with a devotion that bordered on worship. The villagers swore Peel could speak to hounds, coaxing them through storms or luring them from a false scent with a whistle. His wife, Mary, a patient woman with a wry smile, tolerated his obsession, though she'd mutter, "John, you'd sooner bed down with those dogs than me." In 1832, after a particularly thrilling hunt across the fells, Peel and his friend John Woodcock Graves shared a pint at the Oddfellows Arms. Graves, a wool merchant with a poet's heart, had ridden with Pele that day, his cheeks flushed from the chase. The hounds had run a wily fox to ground near Threlkeld, and Peel's horn had sung sweeter than ever. As the fire crackled, Graves raised his mug and grinned. "By Jove, Pele, you'll be sung when we're both run to earth." The words sparked something in him, and that night, by candlelight, he scribbled a song, weaving Peel's name with the hound's cry and the lilt of Cumberland's hills. "Dee ken John Peel with his coat so gay." It began, a tune as wild and free as the man himself. The song spread like heather fire, sung in pubs and at fairs, its verses growing with each telling. Peel, ever modest, would blush and wave off the praise, but he'd hum the tune while mucking out the stables, a secret pride in his heart. The villagers took it up, and soon John Peel was Cumberland's anthem, a celebration of their land and their hero. But Peel's life was not all triumphs. In 1840, tragedy struck when his eldest son, Peter, a lad of 20 who shared his father's love of the hunt, died of a fever. The loss carved lines into Peel's face, and Mary wept for weeks. On the day of Peter's funeral, The village expected Peel to mourn in the churchyard, head bowed. Instead, he donned his red coat and rode out with the hounds, his horn silent but his eyes fierce. He returned at dusk, a fox's brush, the prized tail, clutched in his hand. Without a word, he placed it in Peter's coffin, a fitting tribute to a son who'd ridden at his side. The villagers, shocked at first, nodded in understanding. "It's how John grieves," Tam Bell said. "The hunt's his prayer." Peel's own end came in 1854, not in a blaze of glory, but in a quiet fall. Riding near Caldbeck Common, his mare stumbled in a ditch, and Peel, nearing 80, was thrown. The injury was minor, a cracked rib, but his body, worn by decades of hard riding, betrayed 7,585, refused to heal. He lingered a fortnight, tended by Mary and surrounded by his hounds, who howled as he slipped away. He was buried beside Peter in Caldbeck churchyard, beneath a yew tree, his grave marked by a stone carved with a horn and a hound. The song outlived him, carried by choirs and fiddlers, its descant soaring in school halls and village greens. In Caldbeck, the hunt still rides, though the hounds are fewer and the foxes warier. The Oddfellows' Arms displays Peel's horn, polished to a gleam, and every November, the village holds a hunt supper where the song is sung with gusto. On clear nights, when the fells glow under the moon, some swear they hear a horn's faint note, or see a red-coated figure galloping across the moors, hounds at his heels. In Caldbeck, John Peel is more than a memory. He's the wind in the heather, the cry of the chase, and the heart of a land that sings his name. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, follow, subscribe, and comment below.